Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. You better guard that phylactery, because otherwise we're going to have a reanimated lich on our hands. It is time for a new episode of Into the Nexus with me, Garrett Weinzierl, and joining me as always, Mr. Kyle Fergusson. Kyle, it feels like it's been forever since it has been just the two of us.
I know, just having at it. The words of our previous guests have stuck with me well. I've continued to be on Valla, seen some success. Been going just meta, man. It's nothing but Vallas and a Nubarax. I did play a Stukov in Hero League this week. Whoa, like things got wacky because Ariel got banned. So at least things are broadening out. But I got to say, I'm still just disturbed. And I've been thinking about all week. We're all silvers here. I just can't get over what Jeff Kanata told us last week. And it is still a disturbing memory.
Just how disturbed you are with the kind of throwaway of we're all silvers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were like disturbed as in, I don't know, you're down with the sickness or something.
No. They do a good cover though. Good covers by Disturb.
Indeed. So, I mean, have you seen that creeping into your games? Or are they just like, we're master or we're diamond 3, it doesn't matter?
Well, it really is an interesting phenomenon at the moment. There's multiple sides to this thing, and some of them are being pioneered by our very own community members. Lots of community members are currently at Gamescom. So there's this, much like us at the summit, while everyone's like, we're trying to put together all the information. We're just going, it's great, guys. It's great. Like, there's nothing to be sad about. It's all good. And we're constructing and trying to take the forensics with all the yarn all over the room. And we're just coming up with scary pictures.
Oh, you're talking about the patch that was the build of heroes that was on the Gamescom floor. Is that what you're talking about?
Right, as we put that information together while we get a balance patch on Wednesday, and on top of that, particularly Trixler is pioneering the road right now to try to get Duo Q Hero League back. And lots of people expressing their opinions that go to Team League, that doesn't belong anymore. So it's an interesting time. Either way, the season's wrapping up, guys. 2 weeks from now, this season is over. There's going to be a lot of people placing. There's going to be a lot of people who tried really hard over the entire season, got to somewhere they enjoyed. Maybe that was Masters. And now are goofing off because they received whatever rewards they were most happy with. So if you go in there and if you want to place, be mindful. It's just the environment. It's a circus. It's a clown fiesta. I was the ringleader of it all on Valla this week. The amount of analyzing that I had to do, like the really like hardcore mystery solving that I've had to do in Diamond 3 and 4 this week to figure out how I can improve was maddening, because you leave every game with top damage, and you're Valla, right? It doesn't matter. But you're going to get top damage, and then you have to sit there and go, how could I have done better when we had that AFK Morales for the first 10 minutes? Like, how do you reach inside yourself and still find an area to improve when all you can think about is that one thing? And you know what? It always comes down to the lame stuff like, well, at minute 2, you missed your skill shot, and you were out of position because you assumed the Diablo could peel. And that's that's my wacky life at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you become your own Twitch chat in that scenario. And I'm not throwing shit on our Twitch chat right now, but that's kind of what things come down to. That's one of once you start streaming heroes or really any game, that's what you start noticing very quick. There are a lot of people that's all they kind of bring to the table in terms of what they want to shout in chat, which are these little micro corrections of things you missed and whatnot. And I'm sure you probably don't enjoy being in that headspace, right? Because I mean, you've kind of, I feel like to a certain degree, have moved past that. You're trying to work on bigger goals than, land my Q on Valla.
Sure, I am, though, because I'm new to Valla. I'm having some difficulties that I absolutely can improve on. One of the big ones that I'm having trouble with is making the transition after level 4 off of farming Monster Hunter on tanks, because they're the biggest targets. They're usually in front of the lane minions. I can get a sweet stack. But then at that 10-minute mark, I need to transform all those thoughts and say, I'm full stacks now. I'm doing maximum damage. These spells belong in squishies in the back line. And I have to, much as we talked about with Dunk Train 2 weeks ago, trust that when I dive the enemy team to take care of the back line, that something comes in to save me there. And if not, I can rest assured that I did everything correctly.
I mean, to me, it sounds like you're already doing it right. You're already in the correct mental headspace. That when you do have a game with, as you put it, an AFK morales, did that actually happen to you?
I did, yes.
Okay,
yeah,
that's awful. I mean, you're kind of, I think, leaning towards a healthy space, which is maybe that's not the game to analyze. Maybe that's not the best place to spend your time rethinking everything to try and improve.
But I do think it's always important to say, what is that thing that I can improve, and then move on. But at least you've acknowledged that that game could have been better because of your individual performance.
Yes, I mean every game can. So why hold a magnifying glass to the one that was really wonky?
Exactly. Other than that, though, I've been having a great time in Heroes. Anubarak. It's Anubarak Valla main right now, and that's sad. There are very great tier S characters. And I've recovered my win rate. I'm on my way up, as slow going as it is, and I like that. Winning's fun.
Winning is fun. I was on a bit of a losing streak and managed to pull myself out of the dive, but I'm not going anywhere. Feels a little like Hearthstone right now. I'm not going anywhere in any Blizzard games right now, except WoW.
There's a lot of changes.
You can't really not go anywhere in WoW unless you just log in and sit there. But it's a slow climb. It's a slow climb for me in both Heroes and Hearthstone at the moment. But there are a lot of things to talk about on the Heroes front this week. So let's dive into it.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Click the play button and let's get started.
So Kel'Thuzad is confirmed. Absolutely confirmed, and so is just one hero. The Lich himself, Kel'Thuzad, and his, I would say, modest in-game event, the Call of Kel'Thuzad, has been announced. It was announced this past week at Gamescom through a new animated short. I love these things. I want more of them. They did a pretty much the same style for the Doomfest announcement in Overwatch. Loved it.
Yeah.
And in the short, we got to see Kel'Thuzad himself alongside some Naxxramas corrupted versions of Sonya as a Death Knight, Zagara as a Crypt Lord, and Team 1 trolling World of Warcraft conspiracy theorists to the maximum with Jaina as a Dreadlord, Kyle.
So last week I put as the title of this section, Only One Hero. But it's Kel'Thuzad, man, who I'm going to call Mr. Zod to the very best of my abilities. And if I talk about the other KT at some point during the show, I probably don't mean him unless I say Flame Strike. Flames, Iceman. We're talking about tall Iceman bone dude here.
Tall Iceman bone dude.
It's gonna get so difficult, but I'm so stoked, man. Like unreal. Like I'm so happy. I realize what a hipster I've been for 2 years now, because I remember being on the show and being like, Kel'Thuzad, obviously. And then he gets enough weight behind him, everyone starts cheering the name, and I go, okay, I want a Dreadlord. I don't need to add to that volume. But now that it's I'm so excited. And I got to watch a lot of footage from Gamescom, the Pally Time videos. Got to watch Dunk Train play while at Gamescom too. I mean, he is giddy about that chain stuff.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic, and I completely understand how you have been shaken out of your hipsterism, because the overflowing amount of nostalgia from all of the media that has come out around this Kel'Thuzad release it's really hitting home for me. It is absolutely hitting home for me. For me and my Blizzard fandom, it all comes back to Warcraft 3. And I know that's the case for you as well, Kyle. And it's twofold for you, because not only your Blizzard fandom, but your MOBA fandom, because you were playing Dota way back when, before Valve bought it up.
It's true. And actually, to that note, I actually went, no, they got the wrong voice actor for Kel'Thuzad when he first showed in the trailer. And then I had to remember that voiceover was used as his necromancer form for Necrolite, who is now named something else in Dota 2, but Dota 1. And the Lich himself had the generic voice. It's easy to forget these things, but in Warcraft 3, they never used the main characters. Whenever you made a multiplayer hero, it was like Baron the Darkness, and that was Arthas. So they just completely changed the name and gave him a whole, so it was my bidding. And it's not that Kel'Thuzad, gentlemanly, ooh, kind of thing going on. He's gotten so much character since then, too. Like, he was a cool guy. It was awesome that he tricked Arthas, that he rezzed up, and everybody's bros. We have a third Frost bro now. But the titles alone, but the energy of the community that he's snowballed across Naxxramas and then into Hearthstone Naxxramas and now into Heroes is incredible. I feel like everyone loves what I love forever now. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, the promo videos for Kel'Thuzad, they brought in, you had people from the Overwatch team, you had people from the Hearthstone team, and obviously a ton of people from Team 1 all sitting there talking about how excited they are about Kel'Thuzad coming. And it did its job. I think it served its purpose to remind us all that a lot of the folks that work on teams at Blizzard are still fans of Blizzard, that they came up the same way a lot of us, the players, did, especially at our age, Kyle, playing older Blizzard games. And we're getting a multi-part series about the creation of Kel'Thuzad as a hero for Heroes of the Storm. And at first I was like, okay, that's cool. And the second I watched the teaser for it, now I know I'm going to watch every single one of these.
If you feel out there that you are being seduced by nostalgia, it's easy to do this test. Just go on the internet and look up the top songs, the Billboard songs of the year that thing came out, and test them compared to the thing that you're feeling nostalgic about. Kel'Thuzad, still awesome. Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne, not still awesome. We're okay.
I mean, I have to now ask the question, were you even listening to Avril Lavigne?
At the time, I was on the radio, man. New Mexico is a big place. Everything's 45 minutes apart in the desert. Nod Your Head by Will Smith. I mean, this was 2002, the release year of Warcraft 3.
Yeah, was that seriously Skater Boy? Oh my god! Now this is where we're going. Wait, okay, now hold on, pump your brakes, because also top songs from 2002, "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. Yeah, I'm still feeling pretty nostalgic about that.
You have to craft your arguments correctly here. I did omit some information.
Oh man, thank you for that, Kyle. Thank you for that stroll down 2002 lane. Where I was still wearing cargo pants. Yep.
They matched your Game Boy.
Oh, that they did. So anyway, Kel'Thuzad. So the PTR is next week. Sounds like most likely Tuesday. We're getting an event quest that will yield portraits and the Naxxramas Warcrest banner.
Which is a vomiting citadel. There is no banner I will use otherwise until something cooler is invented.
Well, now that we're getting a vomiting citadel, when are we going to get the creeping overlord? Just spewing creep. I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. And thank you.
We've established that the slime can make the banner part.
The slime can make the... Oh, yeah, right. Absolutely. So why not the creep? Why not creep?
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, don't make it spread when it lands so that it's not confusing if a Zagara is actually out on the field, but...
Surely Diablo has something that vomits.
I don't know. I got
Stitch's face.
Just a vomiting Stitch's head.
The tech is there. Run wild, Blizzard. Let's see him.
That's not Diablo. It's the Warcraft, but whatever.
I know.
And then I already mentioned, you know, Death Knight Sonya, Crypt Lord Zagara, and Dreadlord Jaina. We're getting all those as skins, and I'm sure multiple tints of all of them because loot chests.
Amazing. So excited. I'm so happy that Heroes of the Storm is the fan service that it always should have been. This is the place for this stuff.
Yeah.
Though it does feel like Jaina's about to... I don't know. Is this a big, like... It's not a red herring, but here you guys go. Like, okay, there it is.
This is, I'm calling it, 100% concrete, carved in stone proof that Jaina is not a freaking Dreadlord.
I think so too.
They wouldn't put, like, if you're out there, I love you. Thank you for listening. But if you still think Jaina's a Dreadlord, you're crazy. You're crazy.
She's also a Death Knight then. How lame would that be? We get all the way to BlizzCon. They're like, and everything that happened in other games is true. It's just happening in this one.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of Jaina going, a whole lot of Jaina going on between Heroes and Hearthstone right now. But I mean, everyone in Hearthstone's a Death Knight. They just chose Jaina as the poster child for the cinematic, or if you can even call that a cinematic now that Hearthstone has an honest to God cinematic.
Well, right, we have 3 different kinds now. We have the cinematic, we have the cartoon, which is done in the same style as the Diablo 3 cartoon they did years and years ago.
You're absolutely right. That's when that's when we were first introduced to Imperius. Yeah.
And then this, like, kind of what they do with the moving photos, the After Effects, Hearthstone-y, and then less and less of that would be the Warlords of Draenor kind of Photoshop show version.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely.
So
yeah.
I'm excited we got tier 3. It's not tier 4. Well, wait. No, tier S. Tier S would be super cinematic. So this was tier A. We got tier A cartoon.
And then there's also, don't forget, like the Varian Ragnaros, which was its own kind of special engine that the cinematics team whooped up for it.
Yeah. So that was a tier S, but so wait, that's a tier 1 then. So we need to move the tiers down. At any rate, that was the Overwatch tech that allows them to make quick, good-looking cinematics. That Overwatch cinematic, man, I love that thing.
Oh, the May one?
The one they just put out?
Yeah, the one with
incredible.
I need a snowball. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Or the Hearthstone one? I mean, they just look so fun. I just love the Hearthstone one though, for the hidden message of games for fun.
Yep. Hey, Reddit,
sometimes
chill.
You'll find that random fun. It's like, oh, you said it, random fun. Oh my god.
I loved it too, man. It was so good. It was so good. Gamescom overall. Like, let's just take a break here because we're all over the board, and I think it's fine because, God, Blizzard's Gamescom presence. Like, I mean, we have a lot to talk about today, but we're getting into nitty gritty patch stuff, and that's kind of unique to Heroes. I mean, there's some nitty gritty patch stuff, especially with the Mercy rework to talk about with Overwatch. Hearthstone, there's basically kind of nothing really, but overall, I think the Gamescom presence, even though there wasn't, like, none of it were huge, mind-blowing announcements. We didn't hear about any expansions for anything. While I can't wait for all this Kel'Thuzad stuff, it's the smallest in-game event we have had in Heroes of the Storm. We just got nothing crazy, but the whole presence, it felt like a celebration, which is weird because I know we're getting BlizzCon, and BlizzCon is a celebration, but there's always so much to announce there. All these panels where they really kind of, you get the look under the hood of how these games are made. And that just was not the case here, and I loved every minute of it. I kept the orchestra on in the background today, watching Russell Brower conduct a live orchestra through the greatest hits of Blizzard Entertainment.
Well, that one's a little emotional, too, since he just left. I watched that whole thing.
Oh, I didn't know he left.
Yeah, well, he's out, I do believe. The old men of Blizzard are passing the torch.
Oh, my. I'm having an emotional reaction live on the show. I was not aware of that.
I know.
That makes me really sad. Oh, why'd you have to tell me that?
I don't know. Yeah. No, I don't think he wasn't fired. I don't think anything like that. Now I feel like I'm throwing around scandalous words, but I don't actually know the full story.
Yeah.
So let's talk Mr. Zod.
Neither do I. Yeah, let's get into it. So Kel'Thuzad's kit has already been revealed. His talents have also been revealed. We are not going to go through the talents piece by piece. We have too much to talk about today. And Kyle, cut in at any point as I barrel through what he can do, because you had a lot of opinions leading into this about what Kel'Thuzad's kit needed to be for you to be happy. So at the end of this, I want to know if you're happy or not. But let's start it off with his Q ability. It's Death and Decay. After half a second, you launch an orb that explodes upon hitting an enemy, dealing 150 damage to enemies in the area. And that explosion leaves behind a pool of decay that lasts 2 seconds and deals 70 damage every 0.5 seconds to enemies.
It's a skill shot that explodes upon hitting an enemy. That stinks. You can't penetrate the lane. It doesn't do pure damage. It's not a ground area effect. But what the heck? It's a Q instead of an ultimate. Excellent.
Yeah. Frost Nova on W creates a Frost Nova that explodes after 1 second, dealing 212 damage to enemies inside and slowing them by 35% for 2.5 seconds. Also, enemies in the center are rooted for 1 second. And if you haven't already seen it, the aiming reticule for it does identify the center circle as well as the outer circle.
Which is something that people have been talking about a lot this week, particularly when it comes to Brightwing and visual clutter. Is something like this circle on the ground seen by all the enemy players? And should it be? Is a root powerful enough to be seen? Is Brightwing's middle damage enough to be seen? Brightwing's case, I say no. Here I say yes.
On to Chains of Kel'Thuzad on E. You launch a chain, dealing 97 damage to the first enemy hero or structure hit, and then you have a 4-second window after that. After hitting an enemy, the chains can be reactivated within that window to launch an additional enemy, pulling both enemies together and stunning them for half a second.
Oh, it's cool. And getting to see players use this is a lot of fun. Dunk Train himself said in his stream that this has a lot of playmaking potential, of course. It kind of works like, the closest ability I can think of would be Ragnaros's redirect on his meatball ability. And while it's attached to someone for a full 4 seconds, you can then radial from them the arrow that is going to launch the second bit of chains. So what you want to do with this is hit it on the early, easy target, and then over the 4-second duration, you find that next target. Hooking it up to a building that stands still, obviously everyone's going to go, well, I'm not going near the building. The range isn't ridiculous. But you put it on somebody, now they don't want to hang out by any heroes. They don't want to hang out by buildings. They certainly don't want to hang out by that Glacial Spike talent that you just summoned next to them and can use as another hero for the chains.
Yeah. Well, also, think about like the Chromie mirror image. When you start aiming, that extra image starts aiming as well. It's kind of similar in a sort of weird way, but this is very unique, and I think it's going to take some of us, I'm certainly going to be one of them, a while to get used to this and use it correctly.
I agree, and it'd be very important. I'm not currently sure, and I know we have this information hidden in videos and can obviously change before we get there, but the cooldown is decent. It's kind of in that 15-second range, so you miss this guy, you're going to be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Plus, it has to do with your quest. You have a quest you have to complete as part of your trait. You know, we're saying these numbers, and you might be thinking to yourself, 97 damage? That sounds awful. There must be a way that number goes up.
Well, as always, plenty of talents to augment this thing.
Well, in particular, this would be the heroic trait Master of the Cold Dark quest. Gain 1 blight every time a hero is rooted by Frost Nova or hit by the Chains of Kel'Thuzad. Reward after gaining 15 blight. All cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds. After gaining 30 blight, gains 75% spell power.
There you go.
It's spooky, but it's cool.
You're gonna have to be good. You're gonna have to land these. Let's talk about his heroics. The first heroic up on the table is called Frost Blast. You launch a meteor of ice at an enemy hero. When it impacts, the meteor deals 100 damage to its target and 275 damage to enemies in the area. All of the enemies hit by Frozen Tomb are rooted for 1.5 seconds.
You just found the Blizzard hole. It was once called Frozen Tomb, and now it's Frost Blast. I like Frozen Tomb better, Blizzard, but... You know, maybe there's a tomb guy coming along.
I want it known that I tried my best to look through these notes with a fine-tooth comb and pick out weird things, and I missed that one.
I think there's a lot to go through. I think you can be forgiven. Either way, this is basically looking like a really big pyroblast, which also has a root on it, which is really, really good.
Yeah, I'm calling it a pyrofrost, is what I've been calling it.
Yeah, basically.
And then there's Shadow Fissure. That's the other option for your heroic. It creates a fissure anywhere on the battleground. So this has global range that explodes after 1.5 seconds, dealing 440 damage to enemy heroes in its area. And of course, in the trailer, they showed this killing like 3 people trying to channel a curse. Did I lose Kyle? I lost Kyle. Oh no. All right. Let me check my phone to see if I missed him. Nope. Nothing yet. Well, hi, chat room. How are you feeling about Kel'Thuzad? Feeling good? Yeah? Blood Anubis yells, dishes time. He is in the frozen tomb. Yes, that's what happened. That's what happened.
What happened?
Chat room's yelling, "You're in the frozen tomb."
Oh, yes. That was weird. I didn't press a thing. Nothing changed, and I could hear everything you were saying.
That's very bizarre.
Yeah.
You had
the
your
camera froze. So
you had your resting face on, so I just assumed you were just mulling over a thought for a second, and then after about a 4 count, I realized he's gone.
He's already talking. Actually, he doesn't take this long.
Yeah, exactly. So I was explaining Shadowfisher and making fun of the fact that in the trailer, of course, they showed this global ability killing multiple people trying to channel a curse.
Oh, of course.
That'll happen every
It
time.
has a really long cast time for one of these sort of delayed explosion circles, but it is global. And if you hit a hero at level 20 right now on the build, you get it back. So cooldown's gone. All you had to do was hit somebody.
So you can just sit back, relax, and back at your core, just dropping this thing over and over.
Yeah, everyone says you don't have to soak after 20 anyway.
Well, here, Kyle. If you're doing that, minions will probably be on your core anyway. So you're soaking while hanging out by your core.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
And the minions would help cover the circle on the ground that's going to showcase the explosion that comes out eventually. We're getting wind, of course, all the talents that are coming out. There's currently a great build with everything in it over on Heroes Hearth. They got that up really quickly, so check that out. Most interesting ones are probably things like Phylactery, where you're going to collect 10 globes and be able to choose to resurrect. How sad is that for Diablo? But there's a lot of cool talents in there, and they're all exactly what I just said, cool. They're not augments on damage. They're not, healers, supports getting more healing. They're not talent trees like we knew them in BC World of Warcraft, right? They're all augments to make him a bit more interesting for the most case.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Kel'Thuzad, which is a problem because I also like playing with you. So I guess I'm gonna have to wait, I don't know, like 2 months before you finally get tired of being a lich.
No, I like being special too much. I'm not a big week of release hero kind of guy.
Oh, okay, cool. So
let the dust settle. Now I'm into Malthael.
All right, sounds like now you're in Malthael. Okay, the hipster Kyle has not died entirely.
No, not at all. I want to look special on the field, which quick match helps with, but they can't stop all mirror matches release week.
No. What? God. Well, yeah. I almost say KT versus KT. Kel'Thuzad mirror matches will probably be almost as wacky as Garrosh mirror matches because of the chain ability.
Yeah, that is true.
Just both of you just getting whipped around, getting whiplash. Wonderful. So we've already made mention a couple times of a special build of Heroes of the Storm that is playable on the floor of Gamescom, and it looks like we're going to be able to get our hands on it next week when it hits the PTR. So we're going to hit on some highlights here. We're not going to get into every single little thing. We'll talk about it more when it actually releases. But there are quite a few things worth mentioning. First off, without even getting into anything hero-specific, the scoreboard now shows quest progress for baseline quests. So things like Kel'Thuzad, Nazebo, the Butcher, stuff like that.
Nice. And it shows it in a new area that appears between the hero name and the other talents.
Yeah. And then this has also kind of been applied to the kill feed. The kill feed now also shows quest completion, and it shows denied stacking quests. So if you rob a Kel'Thas of his sweet convection, you'll know that from the kill feed.
One of my favorite things about this, the quest completion, is it gives you the timestamp. And you could go, ding, ding, quest complete, excellent. And then for yourself, look at the top and say, I did that in 13 minutes. Could I improve it next time? But the new system actually goes, patwang, and the flashing on screen is the time that you completed the quest at. It's going to be a really good learning tool, and it really sticks with you. And you can become disappointed over time and realize, I didn't play this game well. I'm also excited to see the kill feed with things like untouchable on Tracer. That convection stack's going away. Everyone goes, yay, on the enemy side. Of course, on the friendly side for the Mr. Fire, he will probably get a little trolled.
Are you saying Mr. Fire for Kel'Thas?
We're going to do what we can to get through the next 2 weeks, man.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, well, I could do KT and Kel. But Kel, if you say Kel fast, it sounds like Kale.
I know. Thas and Zod, I think, is the best we can do.
Thas and Zod, okay.
Yeah.
Thas.
Which is a great ice cream company name.
Yeah, damn, I hate that this is a problem now. I'm so excited for Kel'Thuzad, but this is such a dumb thing. This is only like something you notice when you podcast.
Yeah.
Or have a lot of lunch table conversations about video games. Anyway, couple interesting things happening to some heroes. Chromie, for example, is getting quite a few things. So Sandblast is getting a baseline quest. So on per hit, you get a permanent +5 damage increase, and on 80 hits, Past and Future Me becomes active, which is the Echo, who casts at 60% damage.
Cool. Creepy. What a time. And in fact, that's, I think, going to be my tone for a good portion of the night here is this timely? Is this on purpose? Why Chromie? She's our strongest mage at the current moment.
Right. I upon first seeing this, and a lot of these other changes as well, like when we get to the Leoric, maybe you can talk to me on Leoric, but or let's skip real quick to Leoric. Basically, I'm looking at the changes with the Leoric and thinking this makes him more skill dependent, a little harder to be decent with, and he already struggles.
That is an impossible answer to give right now. I don't know how I feel about Leoric. I think Leoric right now, because of Stitches, Diablo meta, and all that sort of thing, is performing really great. Warhead Junctions helped him out too, because he's got a great win rate there. Leoric's fine, so this is a very scary moment for him. To kind of go into his changes as quick and brief as possible. He is now going to match his auto attack animations with a bit of ability damage, and that's pretty cool. Not ability, not spell damage, I should say, but his auto attacks change based on where he is in the animation. That's awesome. So, swing, big old swing with a big old mace, that does a cleave now. Yeah. Auto attack cleave.
Specifically the first and second auto attack in that animation chain.
Right, they cleave now because they look like they're cleaving. But that one where he picks it up over his head and goes, ha, and slams it down, that's a crit. That's a single target damage. And no matter what you do or where you go, if I go to this lane and I go 1, 2 cleave, and then I go top and it's 10 minutes later, I will still do crit number 3 when I get there. It has nothing to do with standing still. There's no way I can choose to reset my splash damage. And because of this built-in splash damage on 2 of his 3 auto attacks, he's lost cooldown on his skeletal swing. That's now up to 14 seconds. However, if you hit a hero, you get a shorter cooldown, half that. So you're going back to normal there. So basically what they've done is they said, okay, so Leoric originally had amazing lane clear, but he also has this tank buster thing going on. So why don't we make all his abilities focused around heroes, and we take his auto attack and make that more about lane clear, which is really healthy and means your mana is going to be more efficient since you can clear without using it. However, Drain Hope went down. The skeletal changes I talked about. Entomb is up to 70 seconds down, or up from 50 seconds. March of the Black King got a pretty darn big buff. And they're moving things around. They're moving Hardened Bones, which is now based on having a Drain Hope attached to somebody at level 13. You also get some cool stuff, though, like Ominous Wraith. Ghosting through people reduces the damage they deal by 50% for 4 seconds. Spooky.
That's because you feel spooky.
Mace is another one. It increases your attack speed, and for every kill you get on lane minions or heroes, you can increase that up to 50%.
So you sound less concerned than I do about Leoric. So for you, at least listening to you talk to me, it sounds like it comes down to more or less one big thing, which is, are these first and second auto attacks with the cleave going to be enough to keep his lane clear up to the standard that we have come to know and love from Leoric, since skeletal swing is really not efficient as just a form of wave clear. Now, if you're facing off against someone, sure, as long as you're laying the minute, not a big deal. But is that where your concern lies? You just want to get in there, actually play it, and see how that auto attack cleave feels?
Exactly, because Leoric's in a healthy place on Blackheart's Bay. We talked about this build with Dunk Train. You could do the double soak versus Zul in the top with your Royal Focus build. That build's gone now. And is he more efficient by having all these new tools? Maybe not in that role anymore. But there's weird stuff in here, too. Like, they increased that Entomb up to 70 seconds. That's a huge blow. But now level 20 Entomb silences people on the inside. That's amazing. He gets a protection a 3-second protection at level 20, but it's on a 75-second cooldown. What value does that have? Once every over a minute, you can be protected for 3 seconds. When do I use that to win the game? Archon makes sense. You're going into the base, you hit level 20, you're Tassadar. Mm-hmm. And you go, do I think I can win? Let's Archon. Or you do something else, because you're not going to win at that moment. A lot like, actually, is it called Archon for Li Ming too? Are they both called Archon? Because it was definitely called that in Diablo.
I don't even...
Oh, it's Twilight and Archon, pure power for Li Ming. Both are Archon abilities. Both I would use in the exact same win. We are winning so hard right now, I want to win right now. And I just hit level 20.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. So you've quelled some of my concerns about Leoric. I saw the skeletal swing, cooldown increase, and how the only way you're going to get it back down the way it used to be is by hitting heroes. And I'm just like, what? Why would you do this? Everyone's just not going to pick Leoric. But I didn't think about the auto attack cleave. So let's circle back to Jaina, who I'm very excited about. First up, Blizzard is having the cooldown reduced by 1 second from 15 down to 14. Ice Block is now baseline. So upon dealing, I'm assuming this is 15,000?
Right,
okay.
Not just 15.
Yeah, 15,000 critical damage through your trait. You gain Ice Block on a 40-second cooldown. She's getting a new level 7 talent called Ice Fury Wand, and this makes your auto attacks deal 75% bonus damage to chilled targets and reduces Blizzard's cooldown by 1 second per auto attack. Do you see a world where we don't just always take this?
It's really good.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Kyle, what is everyone's complaint about Jaina?
Mana?
Oh, no, I was going to say Blizzard's cooldown.
Oh. You do have to wait, yes.
Fixed. Also, if the target's chilled, your auto attacks are worth landing. And also a new level 20 talent called Ice Blink. Or is that actually what it's called?
No, some sort of icy blink.
Gotcha.
That when you blink, when you get there, you're going to do some AoE chill.
Yeah. So upon leaving your blink, you apply chill in the radius, and there's also a Ring of Frost upgrade that reduces the cooldown by 10 seconds per hero hit by the center of the explosion.
And that's being tacked on to Cold Snap. So some really cool stuff coming away. I mean, Ice Barrier at level 13 lets Jaina play really aggressive. So I think this Ice Fury Wand could be really good. I feel too bad if we just moved right on, because let's go back to Chromie real quick, because we're singing the praises, or at least being shocked at level 20s coming down the pipeline. Let's talk at least about level 17 because of Chromie's trait here. The temporal loop upgrade is going to recast itself at level 20. So you'll go through one temporal loop, and then it'll start a second time to drag you back to that same place.
On the same target. So you get dragged back to the same place twice.
Yep.
That's cruel and probably overkill for most heroes caught by temporal loop.
I would say so. There's also a level 20 talent we've seen where all sands pierce.
Yeah. That's the one that scares me. The temporal loop upgrade is hilarious and awesome, but ultimately I would assume kind of unnecessary. But making your sand pierce all targets, that's some scary stuff.
And I feel the same way about the Jaina center circle. I feel the same way about perhaps a Silence and Tomb on a 70-second cooldown when Spectral Leech is still available. There's a lot of really good level 20s, and as wacky and as just shocking as some can be, that blow in the early mid-game of Hammer taking BFG is just too big.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And we're not done, Kyle. There's one more hero we absolutely have to mention before we move on to stuff that's actually in the game right now, which is Lieutenant Morales. She no longer will have mana. She's getting energy instead. And multiple new talents are going to restore that energy. So she's going... It seems like she's going to be much more active to play. I'm not sure it still won't feel like a chore that is active to play her, but there's some interesting things going on here.
So my understanding and what I've gathered is that it takes you the same amount basically to spend all your energy as it does to get it back, and it happens very quickly. So you can almost imagine that Morales has a really strong heal on a 16-second cooldown. And if she's rhythmic and kind of takes little breaks and, you know, pumps the gas here and there and rides downhill when it's easy, she'll be fine. And she's got some auto attack talents even that can give her energy back, perhaps. You're going to have cooldown based safeguards and grenades now because there is no mana at all. It seems like a world where she's going to be a lot more busy.
Yeah. Some of these grenade talents, by the way, seem very cool. I was getting a new talent at level 13 called EMP Grenade, and it deals 666 damage to shields and an additional 67 damage over 2 seconds.
That's interesting, too, because it makes you think, well, what about shields? Is it Zeratul? He is the top-tier stealthy in a lot of ways, so that could be a decent thing to him. It's such a small window of opportunity for her. It makes you think about Cleanse right now. They're taking away Cleanse from Morales. They're giving her physical therapy. Safeguard removes a slow. Not the thing you're most afraid of in the world, but some slows are getting pretty big. An activated Stukov slow, you'd really feel that. Late game Stitches slows can get you killed as a part of a surprise. But why are we really thinking that nuanced? And maybe in the pro scene, and maybe we are opening up opportunities for some cool rock, paper, scissors play into a slow team. But ultimately, I find that monks want a monk. It doesn't matter if they have auto attack reducing totem spirits. And you'll just take exactly what you want in the Hero League draft.
I don't know. To a certain point, like I think I'm not defending physical therapy as much here, but I do want to defend something like EMP Grenade. That I like that it's there as an option, and I don't know. If people aren't taking it, it's kind of on them. I would like to see more heroes go down this direction of more specific talents so that we kind of start to shift the game, hopefully, into a place where we're not using cookie cutter builds.
And let's compare this, too, to the balance patch that came out just yesterday that gave Tyrande a level 4 talent that removes silences. And this was the same one that removed a stun. Now we're re-entering the world of being totally twitchy and clutch with your sweet Nada Cleanse.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're starting to go in a circle.
Oh?
We're going to find ourselves in this, like, every hero has its niche, but then we'll find that heroes are too good at their niche and we have to pull them back, and eventually we end up back on Cleanse. That's my fear.
I don't know. I want them to try.
That's the best.
This seems more interesting to me than Cleanse.
100%.
And I hope it sticks. I hope it sticks. So anyway,
any fear mongering that I'm doing today is entirely based around I'm scared for Mr. Zod. I'm afraid that as a immobile mage coming out in the current meta, he's going to have a really, really rough day.
Well, I guess we'll have to see, right? We don't know. I share your concerns. I absolutely do. But I'm also in the camp of Garrosh is amazing. I don't know what everyone's doing wrong.
Enjoying the chaos. It's the Muradin problem in my mind. They're just picking fights that they're making their own sandwiches, man. It's so bad to see. You're Garrosh out there and you say, this team fight, you know what it needs? An Artanis on the other side of me body blocking my escape for my teammates. And that's just Garrosh in a nutshell. And I'm just, please stop helping the Diablo engage. It's the same with Stitches. He's amazing. He's an amazing tank. I love seeing him on my team, but don't help an engage dive team do their engages, because then when I get in there on Diablo or Nubarak, I say, oh, I still have my charge to get out or stun you with.
So
thank you.
In our game earlier, when I was on Garrosh, I was at Towers of Doom, and the opposing Varian went Twin Blades. Happiest moment of all week in Heroes. It was like, cool. It's the correct decision to toss this Varian. Just boop, over, slow, dead. Loved it. Had such a good time throwing that variant around. Anyway, before we move into this week's patch, specifically yesterday's patch, let's thank our patrons. Kyle, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/ITN, where if you are out there listening and you feel that you gain some value from Into the Nexus and you would like to give value in return, that's the best place to do so. Go check it out. Have plenty of people over there giving a quarter an episode, $1 an episode, whatever works for you. And this week, we would like to thank Johan W., Reed F., Andrew, a.k.a. 243, Elizabeth, no last name given, and Jason R. Thank you all very much for supporting this podcast. It means a lot to us and helps us continue doing it. And as we've mentioned before, this is pretty much how we make a living. Not just this show. We do other things as well, but content creation. So thank you for letting us do that.
Next week will be the Patreon Bonanza. After the show, stick around. We'll be going into Team League. It will be Zod release week, but we all would have enjoyed it by then. It's the last week of this season. So if you haven't placed in a Team League, we'll be helping you guys out. Join up. Let's fill out that system and get some mounts and get some gold.
Yep, absolutely. We usually do 3 games, although I say usually. I think the last 3 bonanzas I've been like, let's just go again. And we did
5, whatever.
Another 2 hours after our 2-hour show playing 4 games. It's great. So definitely come by, and even if you aren't a patron, join the A-Move chat and create your own teams. It's all good. Now, let's talk about the patch that went live just yesterday, which, before I even saw it, Kyle had dropped it in here and labeled it Blizzard Targets Double Support.
Targets with a very wide barrel. This is a scandalous patch. There's a lot of things in here that people don't like. There's a lot of things I agree with, too. But it feels like it's setting up for Mr. Zod. And it still misses those that you would say, what about, aren't they the tier S guy? That'd be the big one for me is, if we're getting rid of supports and dives, where's Tracer? Where's Genji? What are we doing about them? But let's talk about what Blizzard did do and what they're hoping to accomplish with this.
All right. So first up, Ariel. Her hope generation is now more skill dependent and less reliant on a carry battery. She's now generating 25% more hope through dealing damage to heroes. So there's more of an emphasis that has been put on hitting heroes in the center of Sacred Sweep, as the outer damage of Sacred Sweep has been reduced and the center damage has been increased. Also, right along that line is Detainment Strike. Its initial damage, which is just when you smack them with it, has been nearly halved, while the stun damage has received an over 50% increase in the damage when they collide with a piece of terrain.
So Ariel needs to be a bit fancier. Perhaps should be drafted on maps where there's plenty of walls for her to take advantage of the smaller lanes, chokes, where you can hit people with the center of your Sacred Sweep. I love these changes, and I'll even go as far as to say I love Bursting Light being removed. Ariel was my favorite support. Now I'm kind of leaning towards Stukov just because of these balance changes and the ease of doing what I need to do out there. But Ariel's still loads of fun to play, and getting rid of the cooldown reduction at 7 means a lot to us who have been struggling against things like Cho'Gall comps, Valla comps, Illidan comps, which is kind of a broad place to run Ariel, but all places where either hope is so darn high that she has to use it on a shorter cooldown, or hope is kind of low and she needs to incrementally put out as much healing as possible to keep that Illidan going. Very bad comp there, but it happens.
Yeah, you're not going to see any pushback from me on these changes. I like them too. Something needed to be done. She was too much of a Swiss Army healer.
With 2-lane maps in the game, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go to the opposite side of interesting and talk about Lucio for a second. His health and regen has been increased, aka please continue not to solo heal me on this hero. I don't want it.
The most obvious thing you can say about this is Diablo is in, and if you ride walls, Diablo counters you. So let's get a little more health so you survive that initial engage.
Yeah. Lucio still, he needs something. They need to up his healing.
1 point. It's 1 point on his healing. That's the nerf that took him out.
Yeah, okay. Do a quarter point up or a half a point up. It doesn't need to be an even number. There's plenty of factors in this game that are not even numbers.
Yeah, seems right.
Tassadar, his basic attack damage has been taken down a little more than 6.5%, while his base max health was also reduced the health regen with just shy of a 6% reduction as well. The only other real big thing worth mentioning is the Kaidaran Resonance's regen globe bonus mana was doubled.
I've been on a big Tassadar kick recently, mainly because directly following this show, I went and played 7 games with my wife and lost 6 of them first. And then we did Tassadar Tracer and wrecked it. So we kind of spent all weekend enjoying our fancy new combo. This does not hit me hard. It's the biggest thing is losing the survivability, and you were doing those quick little getaways. So watch your health on Tassadar. Don't take him into Hero League before you've done a couple of quick matches and learned your new squishiness.
I'm completely okay with a slightly more fragile Tassadar. Tyrande, as you already mentioned, at level 4, Celestial Attunement now also, now removes silences instead of stuns.
Really? They changed? Still seems just completely bogus to actually hit in our home games. Or if you would even notice, right, the big pile, 5 people slam into 5 people, and you're going to go, thanks for the silence cleanse, Tyrande. Save you won't even know. No. She's that amazing, I won't even know.
That being said, it could lead to something wonderful. How many Malfurion games where you hear the woo goes off and you just expect to see everything down below your Q through R grayed out, but it's not. So it's that episode of Futurama. If you do something right, no one will be sure if you did anything at all.
The biggest deal here, though, is that taunt counts as a silence as far as cleanses and whatnot go. So she can remove taunt.
That's awesome, actually, now that we have 2 heroes. Well, technically 1 as far as people actually picking the heroic, but we have 2 heroes that can do that. Pretty
telegraphed, too. Varian charges in, Garrosh not so much, but those would definitely be a great pick for Tyrande. The Stukop arm constantly reapplies itself, so much like cleansing someone in an ETC mosh, you'd just be silenced again. Alarak probably really the only other one, but that seems impossible to catch.
Yeah. There's a few other things that Tyrande. Caldor Resistance has had its spell armor stack reduced from 4 to 3. And then at level 13, we saw Empower get buffed to additionally lower the cooldown of Sentinel by 4 seconds. And Harsh Moonlight had both its slow and damage reduced by a little over 15%.
All seems pretty good for somebody Grandmasters are touting as the new carry.
Yeah, this seems pretty light. I was expecting a heavier crackback on Tyrande.
No, if anything, I mean, this is an encouragement for those hipsters like myself who say, everyone's off my character, it's my turn.
Because they're still playing Tyrande?
Exactly.
Okay. No, it's fair enough.
All the posers leave whenever you get a nerf.
I have had no issue getting Valla this week. It's been lovely, even though my games haven't necessarily been lovely. But at least I was on a familiar hero. Uther is up next. He's dishing out less armor now. Eternal Vanguard has received a 40% decrease on the amount of armor that it puts out. But it's not the end of the world. Holy Light and Holy Radiance have received quite the bump in just healing throughput.
Strange. Very strange. Armor, ridiculously powerful. More powerful, the more armor you add on top of it, and the more shields and other heals that fly in the area around it. So by taking Uther and increasing his healing, they're encouraging him to be a solo support. Will it happen, or did we just get a better Uther? In Hero League, I'm talking about here, because
right.
All the sweet clutch armors, those will happen in the pro scene.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those heroes where I felt relieved because I like playing Uther.
Yeah.
But whether or not this fixes the issue I think they were trying to fix remains to be seen.
I agree there.
So let's move away from the healers. Let's move on. Talk about Garrosh. Dude, Garrosh. Oh my God. So hey, he can throw targets even further now. Unrivaled strength, range, and damage have both been increased. Oh, and In for the Kill does more damage. Into the Fray no longer costs any mana, none whatsoever, and Warlord's Challenge lasts 33% longer than it used to. But forget all of that. We can throw heroes even farther if you spec into Unrivaled Strength. Kyle, Garrosh is broken, and we're just terrible at playing him.
Apparently, right? I swear, we're going to talk about Chen nerfs in a little bit, too. And it makes you feel like maybe Hot Slugs is as off the mark as we might be theorizing it is at this point. Or maybe I also theorize that Chens are just going to Chen, and they don't give a damn about their win rates because they're just going to Chen, so they don't upload to Hot Slugs. But at any rate, Garrosh's might be the same way.
No, I think Hot Slugs is on point. I think we're off the mark playing Garrosh. We, as a collective, are doing this beautiful, perfect hero disservice.
Warbreaker and Body Check, we did hear, particularly Warbreaker, was the top pick from Blizzard. So they're just encouraging his Unrivaled Strength pick there. They buffed his Chaos. You don't get a main tank. Your dreams are not filled in that way, but you do get to do more Garrosh business the way you were doing it before.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be Chaos, though. If you're using your Wrecking Ball properly, if you're hitting the targets you should be hitting, it's not Chaos. It's a guaranteed kill.
Oh, well, here I think is one of the biggest things that's happening with Garrosh, and I was depressed at some of the snags that one of my players in Team League was getting over the weekend. Gorath, in this case. He was grabbing things with Garrosh and then throwing it. And there was no care as to what he grabbed. And if he'd throw it, it was just, if I get a target, I'm already throwing. And my initial reaction was, you grab a tank and then don't throw the tank on my squishies. But at the same time, it's the problem I'm having with Valla right now, too. There's a very real issue here about control, and it has to do with the kit. On Raynor, I can constantly be aggressive and make sure I'm always attacking the right target because I'm right-clicking everything. My mouse is on the enemy side. And when I select my Q, I'm pushing back something closing on me. My mouse is already on the enemy side. On a Hungering Arrow build with Valla, I have to throw out a Hungering Arrow, put my mouse backwards or to the side to do the vault, and then retarget forward while stutter stepping. And you know what? A good half of my auto attacks during that particular combo, if minions are around, go into minions because my mouse isn't forward. That's something I'm having to learn. So I think the same thing happens with Garrosh. You got to throw that mouse behind you, so you're basically spending all your time, much like we did with long distance swap Artanis for the first 2 months, going, it's just going to happen, and whatever it is, that's what you got.
No, you're absolutely right. But this is I don't know. Sometimes there have certainly been multiple heroes over the course of Heroes of the Storm where their shortcomings were a result of the development of the hero's kit, of the hero's balance. It was on the game's side. There are definitely other scenarios where it is on the player's side. So the way I look, and I think Garrosh is very much the latter. I don't go and buy a new car and drive it 10 out of 10s and put myself into a tree and complain that it's the car's fault. But if I go buy a new car and the brakes go out on me and I crash into a tree, it's the car's fault. I think that's what's happening with Garrosh.
Fair enough.
No, anyways, I love him. I think he's such a phenomenal hero and something the game I think needed, and I'm having a blast with him. And I want to see him. Well, actually, no, I don't. I don't want to see him move up the win rate because I want to keep getting him on my team.
And I feel like we're going to learn very quickly that Garrosh's post-level 10 and even his level 10 talents are bad. And there's no problem with that. Sylvanas spoils us because she's got so much early game power, and then you get Silencing Arrow, and it's just fantastic. And you can make those fights that you now are slightly weaker for because of her scaling and whatnot better. And it's okay. So I think Garrosh has an excellent place in any sort of rush comp. He's amazing because his basic abilities, he hits the ground running, and it takes time for the enemy team to adapt to playing around him.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on. Alarak got buffs to basically lesser pick talents. I haven't seen any Alaraks in my games taking negatively charged or Blade of the High Lord.
I do it in quick match all the time because we lack poke. This does move negatively charged, the talent that stacks the damage on your lightning, to a pretty decent area. When you can get 20 stacks of it, and if you believe you can get 20 stacks of it, you will outrank Chaos Reigns before the level 20 mark. Chaos Reigns being the talent it's up against, where you just flat increase your Discord strike damage. So it's really good, and it's hard to pass up.
Awesome. So is this pushing you towards negatively charged outside of quick match?
Oh, it would still be a situation where we're on Cursed Hollow and we didn't get a Li Ming or any sort of poke, and I'm having to routinely walk up and do the interrupt while my tank's position and things like that.
Well, I like that. At least it's a consideration.
Yeah.
And then Thrall, which I'm going to just hand it over to you, Kyle. What's going on with Thrall?
Thrall has no talent diversity, is basically the problem at level 1, which is sort of forcing him down the same build every single game. So they're hoping to buff a poke build here while avoiding working into Echo of Elements, is one of the biggest ones there at the moment. And they're constantly changing back and forth. I think Thrall is in a rather strong place. He just doesn't see a lot of play because maybe there's people doing his job better. I think it's just because nobody's paying attention to the poor guy.
Maybe I should give Thrall another shot. He always kind of clicked with me.
He gets misdrafted a lot right now because solo tanks are so rare. You often have a Sonya or an Anubarak or a Dahaka, which is the exact place, this sort of chaos feast for the entire backline, which Thrall could perform in some regards. But Thrall was also really good as sort of the off-tank main tank. The main tank, ETC, would be chaos backline, and Thrall would be controlling the enemy Diablo. Right now, when you have two bruisers, there's just no room for Thrall to be in that mix. Same with Ragnaros. His win rate kind of fluctuates up and down based on if we're running double tank comps or not.
That's very interesting. As you're saying, both Ragnaros and Thrall are in a good place. It's just the meta or the drafting strategy is in the wrong place for these two heroes.
Exactly.
All right, I can accept that. And then Zul'jin, I guess they want folks to try taking Bone Slicer.
And it's not a bad talent. In fact, if you don't think you can ever complete your quest over the course of the game at level 1, this is perhaps the better choice, certainly for an auto attack build. Problem is, though, U1 Axe talent gives range, and range is survivability, and you need survivability in the late game the most, and that's when it comes online.
Okay. And now we're moving into kind of a set of dive nerfs. What's your tinfoil hat telling you, Kyle?
I think they want KT to do okay, and they think that mages are out right now. We all believe it. That we all believe sustained double support is bringing the business. So we can assume Blizzard thinks the same thing, and they're trying to get rid of some characters that might snipe him. I say, again, with Tracers and Genjis in mind.
Okay. So this is
not that those characters need nerfs, just merely what are we doing here?
Why these over those?
Exactly.
Is your statement.
Okay. And to lead with Illidan here, great change. It's about a month late, and now it doesn't matter.
Right. So we didn't mention the change. The hunt. The cooldown has been increased by over 66%, from 60 seconds to 100 seconds. Yeah, in the dev comments, you're like, hey guys, he has Betrayer's Thirst. Well, he had Betrayer's Thirst before, when it was 60 seconds. So yeah, I'm with you on this, Kyle. Seems odd.
There was real sadness here. There was things Illidan was doing that he shouldn't be doing, such as being so on cooldown that he would use it to traverse casually between lanes. Probably the most disappointing thing that could happen would be that Illidan joins a fight. He's amazing, and he uses Hunt yet again inside that same fight. Double tank, double support fights last a long time. And in a perfect scenario, it would take 21 seconds for Illidan to get a refresh. That's hitting every single auto attack. Now it's going to take you 35 seconds. And really, you're probably looking at more of a full minute in the average playstyle, 40 seconds if you're just mad pro in a full-blown engagement.
So, simple yes or no question. Just because it's late, does it make it an incorrect change?
No. It is ultimately healthy, and this is the smoothest way they could have done it without a bunch of jargon or new terminology thrown in. Ultimately, the biggest deal is going to be in the lower leagues, because lower league players worth it a lot. They go in, they get the kill, and then they worth it, and they res. In the old version, you res, 60-second cooldown. You hunt back into lane, you get to soaking, or you rejoin the team fight. Now you're dead, and you come out of it, and you've got no hunt cooldown. You have to walk all the way back onto Warhead Junction.
I'm okay with that because they also knocked the Worth It straight out of the Butcher. So I'm okay with that. We're not talking about Butcher now. We're talking about Kerrigan. Kerrigan. So Ravage, damage reduced. Impaling Blades, damage increased. Primal Grasp, damage increased. So they more or less redistributed the damage.
Yeah, 4-point nerf with a full combo.
Right.
But every damage nerf you do to Kerrigan is a huge blow because her survivability is based on the damage she deals for shields.
Correct. But again, is 4 points enough to really put a ding in that?
No, the thing you should be really sad about if you're a Kerrigan maid is that you can no longer, unless you have a 2-level lead at the equivalent level mark, single shot skeletons on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah. This was probably, of all of the dev comments that were kind of peppered throughout these patch notes, the most interesting for me, because I wasn't aware of this. They said that Kerrigan's win rate has been on a steady 1 to 2% climb each patch for the last few months, and that as of last week, she was sitting on top of the Nexus. Their words.
That is correct, along up there with Butcher, and even Gazlo saw some time up top last week because of these Genji nerfs and Malthael and all those sort of guys making their way out. Were we really scared? That's the odd thing, right? It is sometimes you see a number like Lost Vikings and you just go, there's amazing Lost Vikings in the world and I don't want to be one of them. Moving on, right? And Kerrigan is kind of one of those for me. I don't want to work that hard. I don't particularly find it rewarding to land my combos. I just see it as you just gave me the peanut butter and jelly. That's exactly what I intended, or you messed up the sandwich.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's one of those heroes that I want to like because of flavor, because of my love of StarCraft, but the way that she plays does not interest me.
Yeah, and the big blow is just everything you thought that you could get that kill and reset on has now slightly changed, and Kerrigan's need to go back to quick match for a week and get that figured out. Huge blow to her strategy on Infernal Shrines. And wait, Garrosh got a buff to his talent that works like Kerrigan's Infernal Shrines. So now Garrosh is the new Infernal Shrines guy, I guess. In for the kill.
Yeah, resets. Resets on monster kills.
Yeah.
Anyway, back. Let's hit to the Butcher and talk about the other death of Worth It today. You don't get to ignore your deaths because you're not going to be able to complete. Well, you will, but you will be able to complete your quest so much slower.
At 5 meat at a time, you won't make it very far.
Exactly. So now you only get 20 meat from kills, and more importantly, you lose 15 meat upon death. So, oof. And then on top of all of that, he has seen nerfs to 2 of his most popular talents. Insatiable Blade no longer has the bonus healing, and Enraged has had the armor bonus reduced by 40%.
Yeah, Insatiable Blade taking a big hit there. Now, this is a really cool talent because it's the only one in the game that I know of that's directional. If you are facing the enemy who has your Butcher's brand, you get movement speed now, and that's up to 25% from 20. But still, they removed the bonus healing, which is a pretty big blow.
I like the directional aspect of it, though. It's so cool. It's so Butcher flavored. Like, if you're going in to kill them, you will run faster. If you try and retreat, no bonus for you.
And then how silly would that be? Butcher's brand, and then he runs and he just books it at high speed. Very Butcher-like.
I would find that very amusing. But anyways, and then Chen. We finally made it to Chen. He has less health and regen now. Purifying Brew is now a level 20 talent with a 45-second cooldown, and Flying Leap's bonus range is down to 15%.
So the level 20 talent, which is now a level 7 talent, was the one that with the next stun or silence used against Chen, that stun or silence duration would be reduced by 75%, and it would reset the cooldown on Fortifying Brew. So you avoid most of a stun lockdown, interrupting your drinking, and you get to go right back to drinking rather than being on cooldown. People do this to you all the time. It gives Chen a earlier game counter pick if the enemy team stacks stuns to stop him. But everything else is kind of a nerf here, so where'd this come from?
I don't know, but the opposite of Uther, this is a hero I hate playing against, so I'm fine with this.
But we never see him. I'm just in the weirdest headspace.
I'm not sure. We didn't get a dev comment talking about his statistics. Which is what I was hoping for as an explanation as to what in the world is going on with Chen.
Well, we'll just have to wonder then.
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I'm sure we'll get some emails. itncast@gmail.com. Chen players, help us out here. And then specialist nerf ? Zul, and I would chalk this up to the surprise of no one. Zul's been reined in. His skeletons have less health. Skeletal mages have a 20-second longer cooldown. That one seems a little late to me because it still seems like all the Zuls in my games are going Poison Nova.
Oh. It's a horrifying thought, man.
And then the kicker for me is the healing from Tragul's essence has been halved.
Yeah, pretty big blows to Skeleton Man here. But we got a new Necromancer coming in. Maybe they wanted to make some room.
I think Zul was overperforming. I think it's that simple. Zul was absolutely overperforming and needed to be reined in a little bit. I think this is fine. This is okay. I am still raising skeletons as Zul.
Are you serious about that Poison Nova thing?
I'm seeing a lot of Poison Nova, yeah.
That's really strange to me.
Different ranks, man. Different ranks.
Yeah.
Zagara. Mutalists are they have a shorter attention span now, Kyle. They used to hang around for 45 seconds. They're only going to hang around for 30.
Heck, weren't they? They were a full minute when it first got released, so they're knocking Mutalists down a bit. That's understandable. I can't even think of a time I picked the other two towns except for maybe a Cho'Gall match.
This is still fine. 30 seconds is fine.
Yeah.
You can still take Mutalisk. It's still a massive upgrade over the baseline Hydra length.
But when you take all these changes together, you make the most mysterious blob ever. Like I don't know. Clearly, we wanted to get rid of double support a little bit, and nerfing Uther's armor was a very direct way to do that. We nerfed some of the Ariel power, which was really strong, and now we're going to actually have Windows opportunity to kill the people around here once we get rid of that Aegis and stuff like that. But the picture they've painted with these changes is just mind-boggling. I can't say any of these guys were on my radar. Maybe Butcher, but it's a quick match thing, and so I didn't give it much weight. And
they even mentioned in their dev comments on Butcher that it's a quick match thing. They said it was starting to leak into ranked, but that over the course of this hero's existence, it's been a quick match thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it is all over the board. You're absolutely right. Like the hunt on Illidan, I get it, even if it's late. Kerrigan, I don't get it.
No.
Thrall, I'm completely clueless. Alarak, fine. They're buffing lesser picks talents. And then Garrosh, I kind of get it, even though I'm in the camp of, he's amazing. What are you talking about? He didn't need that, but thank you.
I think it's healthy. All these in the vacuum are good. But together they make that interesting picture. And right. I'm curious to see, very, very curious to see how Mr. Zod performs on release.
Mr. Zod, yes. You could just say his full name.
I'm going to mess it up, man. It starts with that Kale.
Kel'Thuzad.
I'm skipping.
All right, Mr. Zod. The Zod. All right, Kyle, we did it. We made it through basically 2 patches worth of information.
Nice.
A new hero being announced. A walk down Warcraft 3 memory lane. And a tirade by me about how we're all just playing Garrosh wrong.
Naturally. Well, and we'll, of course, go into more detail on these Kel'Thuzad patches next week as we have the PTR available on that Tuesday. And there's also rumored to be some Tyrael changes hidden in here. But I have a feeling that's just everyone being a bit hopeful. We haven't brought that up because I don't want to be a bummer. But yeah, it's easy to think, what about Tyrael? What about Raynor? And all those guys who are getting a little moldy on the sidelines.
I am in that camp. I'm on there. I want to make s'mores with that camp, Kyle. So, anyways, that brings us to the end of the 180th episode of Into the Nexus. 9 more weeks, Kyle.
Wait, till BlizzCon?
No, 9 more weeks until we have officially done this podcast longer than StarCast.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and those last two episodes don't really count. They were kind of months and I think half a year apart at one point.
Half a year apart was the distance between 187 and 188 of StarCast, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I looked. I don't keep that information in the back of my brain. I looked it up before this because I saw 180. I'm like, we're getting close. We're getting close to this being the longest running show we've done together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And I've been hearing from a lot of StarCast people. It's been fun. I mean, certainly the StarCraft Remastered came out, which got us all thinking about StarCraft a bit more again. They've got Dahaka now in their co-op commanders kind of mode. People have been thinking about us. It's been cool. I've been seeing my face in chat. I've got emotes of my face now. The future's a weird place, man. I didn't think we'd be here.
It is very strange. So, yeah, big props to anyone listening to this show that also listened to StarCast. You're a special and rare crew. So thanks for sticking with us for this long. Anyways, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks again to our badass patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN, especially our producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, and Mythdoll. You guys are generous, insane, and we love it. We have Into the Nexus swag you can buy. We have t-shirts, which you can find over at shirts.amove.tv. We have custom etched glassware over at etched.amove.tv, pint glasses, coffee mugs, stuff like that. You can catch us live every Thursday night right here on twitch.tv/amovetv at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There's also a mobile live stream, which you can grab on just about any device via alphageekradio.com. You can follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast. And we got to thank Gorath from The Core Show for our intro music and BrianGriffithMusic.com for our outro music. Kyle, where can folks find you?
This week, you can find me over at twitter.com or twitter.tv. Wait, no, I've completely confused myself.
Twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson. Yes, you can also find me on twitter.com/Kyle Fergusson. The word of the week? I haven't heard that in a while.
I just felt a loud cheer was required after you figured out the Twitch.tv thing.
Took me a moment to realize where we're broadcasting at the moment. But if you are surprised by any of my stories that I tell, those things can't possibly be happening in Diamond. Surely not. I encourage you to join me for one of my Hero League streams. Those are also documented over at youtube.com/Kyle Fergusson. It's everywhere. It's a circus everywhere, and join me for it. It's been a blast. Thank you, everyone who's been joining me for those games. You guys have made them a delight. And we're on our way up, even if a bit slowly.
Listen, it's going to be a circus, so just buy some peanuts and enjoy.
Exactly.
Unless you have a peanut allergy.
Right. But circus peanuts you could have.
You're right, except they're disgusting.
Yeah, they are.
They're absolutely horrendous. I think Katie's about to bust through the studio door and yell at me because she loves them. Absolutely loves them. One of her favorite things. This is not relevant information to anyone within the sound of my voice, but anyway, I just thought I'd share that anecdote. Folks, I'm on Twitter at GarrettArt. Every podcast I do can be found at amove.tv. We just, a lot of kind of monthly and rare podcasts just got posted this week. New Let's Talk About Star Wars just went up, so if you're not subscribed to Let's Talk About Star Wars, check that out. My car podcast, mostly car stuff, just posted its 4th episode, and Embrace the Spoilers is about to go into the Game of Thrones finale, because only 7 episodes. Because I've been watching these episodes, Kyle, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This didn't need more time to explain itself.
Wait, you want more Game of Thrones?
Yes!
But at season, they've gone too slow.
Oh, yeah, this season, they've gone way too fast.
I know. I've heard that I'm saving it for binge, by the way. But long weekend.
It's gone too fast.
I've heard they're like, that's not real. That doesn't exist. Oh, we're fighting it.
Pretty much. So anyways, check out those podcasts. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you all for listening. And until next week, good luck and have fun.
Take care.